Hello, friends, and welcome back to another round of stories about entitled people. Today's story is about one tenant who thought living above a garage would be peaceful until the man downstairs decided to turn that garage into a nightclub, a sauna, and a personal dumpster all in one. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with a turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. All right, let's get into it. How one tenant took out the trash, literally. I live in a small studio apartment. When I first moved in, I thought I'd scored the perfect setup. My entire unit sits directly above a garage. Just one, belonging to the downstairs neighbor. That meant I wouldn't have to worry about anyone living directly under me, which was ideal since I have a large dog with the zoomies. I figured it was a win-win. No shared floors, no complaints, no problem. Oh, how wrong I was. From day one, my downstairs neighbors seemed determined to make my life miserable in the most annoying, passive-aggressive ways possible. It started in winter. Every single morning, without fail, he'd start his truck inside the garage and let it run for 30 minutes, sometimes more, with the radio blasting at full volume. We're talking bass so deep it made my dishes rattle in the cabinets. The first few times I tried to tell myself it was just a one-off, maybe he had to defrost the windshield or something, but no, it became his daily ritual. Warm up the truck, crank the tunes, leave the garage door wide open all day like it was his personal man cave. Then came summer. No more idling truck, but he kept that garage door open all day long again. Not only was it against the building's rules, but it made my apartment impossible to cool down. The open garage turned into a heat funnel that baked the floor beneath me. It felt like living over an oven. But the noise and the heat weren't even the worst of it. For some reason that defies all logic, this guy decided my doorstep was the perfect spot for his garbage. The building provides a designated area for trash pickup. Everyone else puts their bags by the doors on collection day, but not him. He keeps his cans in the garage, and instead of walking a few extra steps to his own entryway, he dumps his bags right in front of mine. At first, I thought it was an accident. Maybe he just mixed up doors, so I moved his trash back to his spot, but then it kept happening. Every week, without fail, I'd come home to find a bag of his garbage blocking my door. I talked to him twice. I talked to management 3 times. Nothing changed. If anything, it felt like he was doubling down out of spite. Then came this past weekend, when I finally hit my breaking point. He threw a party Saturday night, loud music, beer cans rolling around, people coming and going until nearly 2 a.m., I worked late and got home around midnight only to find my door completely barricaded by garbage. Not 1 or 2 bags, but at least 6, all overflowing with cans, bottles, and trash. I had to move them just to get inside. That was it. I snapped. The next morning, before he could wake up, I gathered every single bag and carefully stacked them right in front of his garage door. I positioned them so they'd topple over the second he opened it. Then I waited. A few hours later, I heard the garage door groan open, followed by the beautiful sound of chaos. He didn't even notice the bags until it was too late. He backed his truck out and dragged garbage across half the parking lot. I stood at my window, coffee in hand, watching him spend the next 30 minutes picking up his own mess, bag by bag, can by can. You know, he's probably fuming about it, pacing around his garage, plotting revenge. But what's he going to do, file a complaint that someone returned his own garbage to him? It's the kind of retaliation that's 100% justified and 0% deniable. You didn't break anything, threaten anyone, or even raise your voice. You just reintroduced his trash to its rightful owner. And our second story. Oh, I'm sorry for mixing up bills. I'm colorblind. Let me fix that. Why? In Canada, our bills are stupid. Not only do they get stuck together all the time, but the 5s and 10s are blue and purple, and the 20s, 50s, and 100s are green, red, and brown, so it's a problem for me being colorblind, but I just look at the number and it's a big deal. Last night, I was working cash at the local grocery store when a lady, maybe in her 30s, comes through with an order that was $4.95, and she hands me a single bill, which was one of the bigger bills, so I punched $20 into the machine, hand her the change. This is where the weirdness begins. Her, I handed you a 50. Me, oh geez, I'm sorry. I press my open till button, and sure enough, there was a 50 where the 20 should be, so I fix her change and hand it back. Me, sorry, I'm colorblind and didn't think you would give me a 50 for a small order. Her, why? Me, pardon? Her. Why are you colorblind? Me. Do you mean why am I on cash? That's a question I get a lot. I'm a guy cashier, so I'm used to it. Her. No, why can't you see colors properly? Me. My eyes just don't. Her. Oh, bye. Honestly, I wish you'd leaned into it. Why am I colorblind? Oh, it's seasonal. Clears up every spring. Or better yet, I traded my color vision for 15% off groceries. Canadians are too polite for the level of nonsense they endure daily. And our next story. Some people don't understand how dangerous 5 minutes in a car can be. So today I was at the grocery store just running a quick errand when I saw something that made my stomach drop. A baby left alone in a parked car. The windows were rolled up, the sun was out, and there wasn't an adult in sight. At first I thought maybe the parent was just a few steps away, maybe unloading groceries or grabbing a cart, but after standing there for about a minute, it became clear that no one was coming. The baby was strapped in a car seat, moving slightly, but there was no air circulation, no shade, nothing. I couldn't just walk away and hope for the best, so I did what anyone should do. I called the police, I gave them the make, model, and license plate number of the car, and explained that there was a baby inside unattended. They told me to stay nearby, so I waited, keeping an eye on the car just in case something happened. It felt like the strongest few minutes of my life, wondering how long the baby had already been in there and whether they were okay. The police arrived pretty quickly and checked the car. The baby was awake, thankfully, but starting to look flushed. One of the officers went inside the store, and a minute later, I heard an announcement over the loudspeaker. Will the owner of a make and model vehicle with license plate number please come to the front? That's when she appeared, the mom. She came rushing out of the store, pushing a shopping cart, but the moment she saw the police standing next to her car, her expression changed from concern to pure fury. She immediately started yelling at them, "What's going on? What's wrong?" Then, before the officers could answer, she turned defensive. "My baby was asleep. I didn't want to wake him up. I was only gone for 5 minutes." 5 minutes. That's the line everyone uses, isn't it? It was only 5 minutes. But the thing is, so many tragedies happen in those 5 minutes. A car's temperature can rise dangerously fast, and babies can't regulate heat like adults. And beyond that, what if someone had broken in? What if the baby started choking? You just can't leave a baby alone in a car, ever. As the officer calmly explained why what she did was dangerous, she kept glaring at me like I was the one in the wrong, like I just ruined her day. The nerve. I didn't say anything back. I didn't need to. I knew I'd done the right thing. Some people are so self-centered that they think inconvenience is worse than endangering their own child. So to this angry mom glaring at me today, you can be mad all you want. I'd rather you be angry than have something happen to your baby while everyone else just looked the other way. If there's a positive takeaway here, it's that maybe she'll think twice next time. Not because of the cops, but because someone saw her mistake and didn't let it slide. You did right, OP. You definitely didn't ignore a potential disaster. That woman should be thanking you, not glaring at you, because that only 5 minutes could have been the worst mistake of her life. And our last story. My brother tried to steal my house for his family. I'm a single guy in my early 30s. My younger brother Dan is 29 and already has 4 kids. His wife Melissa and I can't stand each other. She's one of those people who can turn on the tears like a faucet, always playing the victim while stirring up chaos. My parents adore her because she's so good with the kids. I see right through it. Dan and I have never gotten along. He was always the golden child, the one who could do no wrong. If he picked on me and I fought back, I was punished. If I did better than him at anything, I was told not to show off. Our parents even moved us away from extended family because people were starting to notice the favoritism. When I turned 18, I packed up and left. They didn't even come to my graduation. For years, I kept things low contact, birthdays, maybe Christmas, nothing more. I thought that distance would keep the peace, but blood doesn't stop entitlement, apparently. When the pandemic hit, I lost my job and my apartment. My roommate bailed early, and I had nowhere to go. I asked my parents if I could park my camper at their place until I got back on my feet. Their answer, sure, if you pay what an apartment would cost. They wanted market rent to park my camper in their driveway. I couldn't afford it, so I lived out of the camper in parking lots and quiet back streets for almost a year. Meanwhile, Dan and Melissa mocked me constantly. Homeless hero, truck bum, too lazy to get a real job. My parents laughed along, so imagine their faces when I finally got back on my feet. I found work in another city, lived in my camper behind the warehouse where I worked, and saved every dime. The owner let me plug in for electricity and water. Eventually, I became a supervisor, saved up enough, and bought a 3-bedroom home. My first real place of my own. Big mistake, I bragged about it on Facebook. A few weeks later, I heard a knock on the door. It was my parents, Dan and Melissa, uninvited, unannounced, and already acting like they owned the place. They just walked in, looking around like it was a real estate tour. My mom said, "Wow, this is too much house for just one person." Dan kept muttering, "Dan, this is way bigger than Mom and Dad's place." Melissa was smirking the entire time. Then Dan asked to talk privately. Everyone else suddenly went outside, clearly planned. He starts off with, "Look, this house is too much for you. You don't have a family. You don't need all this space." I didn't even have time to respond before he added, "Melissa's pregnant again, and this place is closer to my job. You can live in your camper in the backyard while we take the house. We'll handle things." I thought he was joking. He wasn't. So I pulled out my phone and hit record. Dan just kept talking, laying out his little fantasy plan, no mention of rent, no offer of help, just pure entitlement. When I said "hell no" loud enough to shake the walls, he actually looked offended. Then my parents and Melissa barged back in, yelling about family unity and helping Dan. Melissa screamed that I couldn't do this to a pregnant woman. I told her to shut up and get out. She swung at me and actually hit me in the face before Dan grabbed her. I warned them all that if they didn't leave, I'd call the cops and press charges, and I meant it. They left, but my mom hissed, "You have 1 week to come to your senses." So I did the only smart thing. I posted the whole story online before they could twist it. With video proof ready to go, I got ahead of their lies. Most of my extended family took my side immediately. A week later, like clockwork, they came back, my parents pounding on the door, Dan yelling for me to be reasonable. I cracked the door open, but I'd installed a chain latch. My father tried to push in, and I warned them I was recording everything and calling police if they didn't leave. My mom did her usual guilt trip. "Please do this for Dan." I laughed in her face and said, "I don't love Dan. He treated me like garbage for years. You all did. Get off my property." They left. I thought it was over. I was wrong. 2 days later, I came home to see a moving truck in my driveway and Dan's minivan parked out front. His family was hauling boxes into my house. I barely had time to speak before Melissa chirped, "It's okay. Your mom said we could move in. You'll be fine in your little camper." I locked myself in my truck and called 911. She started pounding on the window, threatening to scratch my truck if I didn't hang up. The dispatcher heard everything. When police arrived, Dan and Melissa had changed my locks. They drilled out the old one, left the bits and the drills sitting right there like morons. They came out smug, waving a fake rental agreement with a pathetic forgery of my signature. My parents showed up minutes later, swearing I had agreed to let them move in. The cops looked at the paper, looked at me, and just sighed. I told them flat out, they broke into my house, forged my signature, and changed my locks. I want them gone. My mother still tried her guilt trip. "Can't you just do this for Dan?" "Sure," I said. "You can. Let him move into your house. He can take your bedroom. You two can live in your camper in the yard." That shut her up fast. Melissa started crying, Dan turned red, and the cops told them they had 10 minutes to clear out or they'd be arrested. My brother tried one last sob story, holding his kids close and saying, "Are you happy? You're ruining our family." I smiled and said, "You ruined it yourself when you tried to steal my house." Then he threw the new keys down the storm drain out of spite. The cops made him climb down and get them. By the time they drove off, Melissa was having a full meltdown on the lawn while Dan loaded their boxes back up. Before they left, my mother tearfully said, "You're disowned." I laughed and said, "Perfect. That means I don't have to come to your house and pretend we're a happy family anymore." They left in silence. Now they're all still crammed into my parents' house, 4 kids, 1 newborn, and a perpetually shrieking Melissa. From what I hear, my parents barely get any sleep. If they want space so badly, they can always do it for Dan and move into a camper of their own. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.